Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really specific and, honestly, incredibly popular corner of the internet. We're talking about media downloading. Specifically, we're going to put a tool called YTDown under the microscope. We want to understand not just its technical bells and whistles, but the very real legal realities of pulling media straight off YouTube and onto your personal devices. So we're going to break down exactly how it works, what it promises, and crucially, what it expects from you in return. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever found yourself in a spot where you desperately needed to grab a specific video, maybe a quick short, or even just an image from a YouTube post, but bam, you hit a total wall? Maybe you were about to board a ridiculously long flight with zero Wi-Fi, or you just wanted to keep a copy of something for your personal archive. But the platform itself, it just doesn't give you a straightforward way to save the file. It's an incredibly common frustration, right? And it's exactly the headache that third-party tools are trying to cure.
So, what exactly is this tool we're looking at today? Well, according to the source material, YTDown is defined as a completely free, web-based utility for downloading YouTube videos, shorts, and images. The really key takeaway here is the phrase web-based and the fact that it's not affiliated with any paid software. Basically, you aren't downloading some clunky, standalone application to your desktop or your phone's home screen. It lives entirely within your web browser, totally separate from any premium paid software ecosystems.
To really understand why a tool like this catches on like wildfire, we have to look at its core features. And honestly, they're built entirely around removing friction. It's free to use, there's absolutely zero sign-up required, which is huge, meaning you don't have to hand over your email address or invent yet another password just to get started. It's fully compatible right out of the gate with both Android and iOS, it supports high-definition quality up to 1080p, and it claims to run on fast servers to keep everything moving smoothly. These features literally cater right to our modern craving for instant, barrier-free access.
Now, what's super interesting here is how the service tackles the elephant in the room. When we're dealing with free web-based downloaders, the immediate fear is usually viruses, right? Well, the source material explicitly states that the tool is 100% safe to use, assuring users that they absolutely do not have to sweat over data security or malware. They emphasize that they maintain strict security requirements to protect your privacy. In the Wild West of internet downloaders, this kind of explicit, upfront guarantee is a massive selling point.
Section 1. How to use YTDown. The simple mechanics.
Let's transition from those raw capabilities and see how this builds into actual practical steps. The whole process is engineered to be ridiculously user-friendly. It's basically a giant puzzle made of just 3 easy pieces. First, you just paste or enter the URL link of the YouTube video you're after. Second, you pick your desired video quality and format. And third, you just click to download the file directly to your device. Whether you're holding an iPhone or sitting at a hefty desktop, the workflow is the exact same brief 3-step dance.
Now, during that second step, you do have to make a choice. You can choose to extract just the audio track by converting it to an MP3, or you can grab the whole visual package in crisp up to 1080p HD by selecting MP4. The tool gives you the total flexibility to decide exactly how you want to experience that media once you're offline.
A really common question the source addresses is, well, how long is this whole thing going to take? While YTDown boasts about fast servers designed to keep things zipping along, the reality of physics and data still applies. The time it takes is directly tied to the file size and the video quality you choose. So if you're trying to pull down a massive feature-length 4K documentary, expect it to take a few minutes. It's fast, for sure, but it's not magic.
And then we arrive at a universally relatable struggle. You click download, the progress bar filled up, and now, where in the world did the file actually go? Seriously, we have all spent a good 10 minutes tearing our computer apart looking for a file we just saved. It happens to the absolute best of us.
Just as a quick reminder, these files usually route straight into the default downloads folder on your device. If you don't see it there, a quick peek at your browser's specific download settings will usually solve the mystery. And of course, if you manually told it to save to your desktop or some specific folder, well, that's exactly where you're going to need to look.
Section 2. The copyright catch, your legal responsibility.
So the crucial point is the catch. We've talked all about the power, the speed, and the sheer convenience of this tool, but there are some very strict boundaries here. The source material establishes its first major boundary with this incredibly plain, direct statement. Copyrighted content is not available for download with this tool. Right off the bat, there's an inherent restriction that the platform itself acknowledges. You can't just use this to casually grab the latest blockbuster movie or a highly protected music video.
The tool recognizes digital ownership and actively claims to restrict access to protected material.
Furthermore, by simply choosing to use the tool and download anything at all, you're agreeing to a very specific condition. As the source states, you acknowledge that the audio or video content you access is strictly for personal and non-commercial use only. This means whatever you're grabbing, it is for your eyes and ears only, strictly in your own private space. And to make absolutely sure there's no confusion about what non-commercial actually means, the source lays out a specific list of prohibited uses. You are strictly forbidden from distributing the downloaded files, copying them for other people, modifying them, reselling them, performing them in public, or broadcasting them. Literally, if you do any of those things, you're operating way outside the scope of their terms and potentially violating applicable copyright law, not to mention YouTube's own terms of service.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the service legally protects itself. If you look closely at the fine print, it reads, "We assume no liability for any unauthorized or improper use of the content." YTDown is essentially saying, look, we're just providing the technical mechanism, the web interface, the servers, but we are entirely washing our hands of any legal trouble that pops up from what you do with the file. They are taking a massive step back and pointing the finger directly at the user.
Which brings us to the ultimate, absolutely crucial point from the text. The user, and yep, that means you, assumes full responsibility for complying with all relevant laws and contractual obligations. You are the sole party on the hook here. The tool makes it incredibly easy to just click a button and pull a file, but make no mistake, the heavy burden of respecting copyright law and terms of service rests 100% squarely on your shoulders.
So what does this all mean? Well, it leaves us with a pretty provocative question to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. In an age where tools like YTDown make accessing and saving media completely frictionless, completely free, and incredibly fast, how will you navigate your own personal media consumption? How do we balance the undeniable convenience of offline downloading against the very real, very strict legal boundaries of digital ownership and copyright law? It's a tightrope every digital citizen has to walk these days, and understanding the fine print is just the first step. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time as we break down another fascinating topic.